Welcome back to the channel, and today we'll be discussing our new breakthrough muscle growth strategies. Hamstring exercises. For these hamstring exercises we have two main ones. We have a Nordic curl, which is the curl that you do knee extensions with, that crosses the knee joints, and you have the seated hamstring, which does the hip joint, because there are two main types that you can train your hamstring. We'll dive into that a bit more later. We'll start with the Nordical. How to perform the Nordical. You will need to control the eccentric portion very slowly. And whilst you are doing the concentric, you can use your hands. Because the Nordical, you can watch a video on it, is laying down almost. You need to push your hands up because the concentric phase isn't that important, so you can skip it. And when it comes to the anatomy of the hamstring, there are four main heads, which are the semimembranosus, the semitendosus, the biceps femoris long head, and the biceps femoris short head. The seated hamstring curl effectively targets all these heads, except for the short head. The short head of the bicep femoris, you will do the nordical instead of the hamstring curl to activate it. The semimembranosus, the semitendinosus, and the bicep femoris long head all cross the hip joint. That's why you do the seated hamstring curl, because it crosses the hip joint, which contributes to hip extension, what we said. The bicep femoris short head is a smaller muscle that only crosses the knee joint, and that is why you will do the Nordic curl, because it is particularly very good and effective for that type of muscle. Now we'll be diving into the calf raises, and especially of the seated calf raises, because there was a study within a subject design that with untrained individuals that performed calf exercises with one leg in a straight position and the other in a seated position, and they found that the straight leg condition grew significantly more muscle in the gastrocnemius muscle, which is the outer head of the calf, and there was around 15% more growth compared to the seated condition. For the soleus muscle, which lies beneath the gastroc and is stronger but less visible muscle, growth was also higher in the straight leg condition, with an increase of about 3%. In the seated condition there was almost no growth in the gastrocnemius, so a complete muscle group within the calf did not even grow one bit in this exercise, and which limits its growth potential. However, the soleus muscle showed the same growth, or at those 3% that we said in the before, which is very minor for us. And in my humble opinion, the seated calf raises have no place within your training, because you are completely removing a muscle within your calves that is not being worked, and there are other alternatives which you can do. For example, inwards and outwards seated, uh, lying, standing leg raises, or you can do the leg press variant, which is also very good. Performs high tension in the stretch position. Now we'll be diving into modalities, the failure beyond failure training ideas. There are two types of failure points within a given training exercise. There is volitional failure and true concentric failure. When it comes to volitional failure, this is when a person feels like he cannot do another rep. He is predicting that he will not do another rep, and also he will do a rep which good form, and on the second attempt he feels like he will not do it with a good form, and that's why he stops the 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 rep. When it comes to true concentric failure, the person who is doing it will truly go to failure regardless of what happens. So even if he's doing a bench press, he will go to failure, and the bar maybe not fall on him, but will be stopped with the spotter arms and not with the hooks that he wanted. Or a person would help him and take the bar off him. When it comes to exercises which stop at the peak contraction, the one which is not most growth promoting, the top end portion, it is better to do some extra long length partials in it. But make sure to not overuse this modality, because if you use it, it will cause higher amounts of fatigue and may hinder your recovery. The stretch muscle growth assumptions. All thought we know that muscle in a lengthened position is shown to grow more. Not all exercise, not all muscle groups have been tested with this, but as a common recommendation now, it is more beneficial to at least do your exercises with a stretch bias emphasis, because we know that even though we may not cause more growth, we at least will grow the same growth. So you may at least do it, get more stretch, and it's the same growth, like you didn't do the stretch emphasize. When it comes to pre-stretching a muscle, it is better because when it is pre-stretched, it's already involved in a high tension, which may further increase more growth because of the stretch position. We currently don't know yet, but it may do. Additional exercises should have a significant resistance at the bottom, so there should be more tension at the bottom. This may lead to additional growth. And it's very important to vary your exercise throughout the week and not do the same exercises repetitive during the week, because for once you will be targeting only those muscle groups and not the other muscle groups. So your back, if you train only your traps or only horizontal pulling, you won't be doing any vertical pulling, so you'll be missing out on the lats. When it comes to progressive overload, the two main ways you can progressive overload within an exercise is by either doing more weight or doing more reps, or by doing both. Science has shown that neither of them grows more muscles, so you can do both, you can do one or the other, depends on you and what you are currently doing and what type of exercise you are doing. High number amounts of repetition, so going beyond 20 reps we are speaking of. A large number of metabolites when you are doing high reps are secreted, so they are generated, which makes it harder for a muscle to produce force, which is bad for us. Normally, the big fast twitch motor units, those responsible for the most growth, aren't fully activated during light reps, but when reps continue and are higher, so going into the 15 to 30 repetitions, these units eventually have to be engaged. This added recruitment leads to significant growth. So from 15 to 30 you will grow more. You will grow similar or more. Besides, because 5 to 10 may grow you a certain way, and 15 to 30 grows you another way, because there is different metabolites which are induced and affected on. As the set continues and becomes more painful due to the accumulation of metabolites within the muscle, and is forced to recruit more fibers to keep performing. However, in a set with very high repetitions like 90 or more, the constant blood flow and easier the reps prevents you from reaching the grinding point, which is the failure point. That's when you feel the muscle shaking, basically. Those fast twitch fibers are heavily activated, and those will not grow you, because 90 repetitions of bench press, I can tell you for sure that you are not stimulating muscle growth when you are doing that. You may stimulate something, but not something to grow you. If you aren't pushing close to failure in the last reps, the grinding point that we speak of, you won't stimulate as much muscle growth as you could have if you reach that grinding point. That was all. like and subscribe, and see you in the next guy.